Sophia is a mom. I think first and foremost, first and foremost, she is Sophia because she oozes everything of herself. From what I've learned so far, you ooze everything of yourself into your motherhood role, into your role as a wife, and just into creating such a beautiful home. And what I was really drawn to is that Sophia, she homeschools her kids, and we actually are sitting in the classroom.
Yes.
Which when I walked into the home, the home is actually it's just an education canvas that you paint on every day. That's what I've seen. So let's start by going into your role as a mother and a teacher, because that's what you've chosen to do. Tell us why you've chosen to homeschool your kids.
It wasn't really a choice I made. It's not like I decided, yes, this is the options, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It was more, it almost chose me more, I would say. And it was something that we were always for sending the children to school when they were born. Eventually they're going to have to go to school. And I always kind of didn't think, homeschooling was kind of the other end of the scale to me. We kind of thought, oh no, it's too far out too. It's just, maybe it's just hippies that homeschool. Maybe I'm a hippie and hard, bohemian. And but then the thought came and went. And but funny enough, people came to Harry Smith homeschoolers for just to chat, give a talk. And I was there with Chloe in the pram, my eldest. Just so obviously somewhere there must have been some interest deep down subconsciously.
So people came to Harry Smith.
Yes.
They said, "Listen, we want to talk to people who are interested in homeschooling," and a light bulb went off.
But even then I didn't know it though. I said to Adam, my husband, listen, I'm going to this talk. I just want to hear what it's about. And Chloe was still very small then, still baby. So there's another 3-4 years before going to school. And the years went by, and then one day I have a potting shed in the back of the garden. And I normally in the morning I'll go there with my coffee and I'll potter about in the potting. And then in the potting shed, and what I'll do with Chloe then, I'll make a bottle of tea and she'll come grab the bottle when she wakes up, come to join me, and then she sit there pottering around and, like I said, cleaning the shelves with toothbrushes and things like that. And we just had a very, very special time together. And the one morning I realized, next year when she starts going to school, because that's a couple of years have passed, we won't have this anymore. And it was like a thing. My heart just went, almost like a pain in my heart, realizing this is very special, and we're about to lose this, going into the system and starting conventional school.
Yeah.
And I kind of just knew. I knew that's the moment I knew that's it. I'm homeschooling. But I didn't want to say anything to Adam because we were saying my husband, yes, thinking, oh no, he's not going to like this. What is my wife up to now again, kind of scenario. And so I said nothing. And I think it was either that morning or the next morning when we sat at breakfast. It's quite a big thing in our home. We were sitting at the breakfast table, and Adam, out of the blue, said, "Listen, I think we must homeschool." And it was so happy. So we were unity as husband and wife. It just really resonated with us, and that's it. Because I just knew
we were just reading each other's thoughts.
And it was, and I think the whole thing was, I realized if you put your foot in that machine, it takes you and it goes.
What do you mean by that?
It just you get up in the morning, eat your breakfast, wake up, get early. We don't have. A friend of mine always teases me. She says, Sophia, our routines are similar. You guys are just 2 hours behind the rest of the world. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. We like a slow start to and spending time as a family together in the house, having breakfast. And that whole atmosphere that we've created here as a family would go, because then it will be get the children off to school and then come home, and it's just nothing wrong with all of that. But for us as a family, and for the way we enjoy everyday life, it would have been vast difference to what we were used to.
Now your kids, when they wake up, they make homemade rusks, and it's very much a self-sufficient home, isn't it? Work
with our hands, lead a quiet life, be self-sufficient, that kind of thing.
So, okay, so you've got 3 kids now.
Yes.
So just remind me of the ages. It's Oliver, Chloe, and Georgia.
Yeah. Chloe's the eldest. She's now 13.
Yeah.
And then the twins, Oliver and Georgie, they're 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you decided to do that homeschooling. I mean, a lot of people do homeschooling.
Yes.
But what is so obviously you didn't want to get into that. It wasn't just that you didn't want to get into that sort of treadmill of what a lot of people do. Huh? Kids go to school, wake up early. It wasn't just
the
about
rush.
that.
Yes.
What else was it for you that felt? I mean, and how did you even know that you were capable of homeschooling your kids? You know, this is such a big commitment.
I think I'm a mother. I mean, we all, surely, I always said as a mother, I think you know your children and you know they're your children. I mean, you also having your daughter Amelie, I mean, who taught her to talk? Who teaches her manners?
Yeah.
Who teaches her potty training?
Yeah.
Who teaches her sleeping? You are the nurturer, you mom and dad. But so those are the things that no one else taught Amelie that or my children.
Yeah.
So a mother, I think the instinct in the mother is naturally there to teach her children, and the instinct in a child is naturally to want to learn. That is the instinct. And that's a God-given thing that we have and that children have. I always say a child is not an empty bucket that must be filled with information. Everything is already there in their DNA. It's more unfolding process. It's there. It's like, you know, you don't, if you think like an acorn, yeah, the acorn, small as it is, becomes a beautiful oak. But it's in that DNA to grow and to become a beautiful oak. And I always think that children are like little trees, if you can use that. And it's there. It's we facilitate things. It's not like they're empty and we have to stuff them with all this info. And I just see it differently.
Yeah, but now, okay, because I know that you don't sit and at least I don't get the feeling that you criticize the school system.
Not at all.
I don't get that feeling.
No.
I think that this when I walk in here, this is just a place of love. It's not a theoretical place where you teach them. Everywhere you look, there is something. I mean, for example, if you get that, you know, I mean, it's just you transform also everything you have into something. I mean, this is a coaster.
Yes, it's a baked bean.
And it was a baked bean tin, and it's actually like with the felt on the back.
Yes.
You're not just homeschooling. There's something more to what you do. I mean, I feel that. Do you know what that is?
Well, I think I find it's a wonderful privilege, number one, to get to the homeschooling and the motherhood and the whole thing for me personally. And please, I will never ever say to anyone I'm right and they're wrong. It's never been anything like that. It's just something that I can do and I want to do. And my husband and he works from home. He's an illustrator. We at home. So our lifestyle lends itself to being able to be at home and training the children up in the way that they should go.
But one's lifestyle doesn't just happen. You create your lifestyle. You've created this. You wanted this.
Yeah. I do, sure, Jen. I think it's just something that's in me. I don't know if it's gut feeling or anything. It's just my heart. My heart is to create a learning-rich environment. I'm having a tremendous amount of fun, so it's not a drag or often people say, oh, you must have such patience to homeschool your children, and it's actually not about that at all. I feel that we have been blessed with 3 children, and I see it as a great privilege that it's Adam and myself that is laying that foundation for them, because we're in a position where we can, because we're at home, and I feel God's given them to us.
Yeah.
And I think part of that, and I take that very seriously. And I think with the motherhood and the schooling and homeschooling, to me is actually, it just rounds off motherhood beautifully.
Okay.
Because I feel I'm the one that taught them how to read, and I'm the one that saw that little light go on, going, oh, mama, I can do this, or mama, I can read, or so it's, to me, it energizes me. So I think it actually energizes me. It's something. I'm working with them. I'm having great creative fun. It's a wonderful creative outlet for me, creating little boxes and suspension hang files,
Yeah.
because I'm a recycler.
Yes.
And I'm a bit of a hoarder. You've seen all these things.
Which you have recycled everywhere.
Yes, I've got a
so
cardboard
beautifully.
fetish, so it's all my things out here. And so I'm just having a tremendous amount of fun creating a learning rich environment where I'm learning as well. So for me, it's not like, oh yeah, okay, it's a drag, I have to teach them. I'm learning so much. I kind of wonder what happened to my brain when I was at school. Because now it's just a whole new way of presenting stuff for the children as well, and to do it in such a way that we can immerse in things. So it's not something that you just do on the surface. We're actually immersing because we've got the time and to do it, because we can do it. It's not now we work, now we play. It's a learning lifestyle. So it happens everything all the time.
So I mean, and that's it. So for example, when I walked into the home, in the passage you have sort of along on the bench you've got that library.
Yes.
You've got another chair that is one of the what have you got there? The astronomy.
Yes, well we call it the love to learn spot.
The love
so
to
that's
learn
a chair,
spot.
because I find sometimes when you have all the books out there, the children don't necessarily go. Well, I'm training them. A lot of habits that you form in them to go and look at the books. They're out there with the bikes or whatever. So I thought what I would like to do is maybe with that something, whether it's botany or astronomy or history, what we're busy with at that current moment, to just go get those books out and to put them there. Not to go call them and say, this is where you have to read, but to say, listen, love to learn spot. It's astronomy week. There's the books. And then just reminding them, listen, guys, and please remember to have a quick seat there. Just don't just sit there and study. It's just quickly go through the books. And then what I like to do at night, because we meal times are quite involved. Like I've said about breakfast, but dinner is as involved. And then I will normally just say, who's got something to share? Who can put something on the table that they've learned that day from the Love to Learn spot? So I'm just sort of putting out little stimuli out there. I'm prompts. I'm just putting out little prompts, and without making it a thing or without forcing it or saying you have to do it and you better tell me tonight what you've learned. It's just the way you're doing it. It's just to say it's out there, and it's to get them in the habit of not telling them what to read, but just showing them the books, telling them where to read, but not what to read. Kind of thing. That's
also sort of because everyone's it's so much out there at the moment about the learning, the way the schools are. You have to cram in all this work, and then the next day you do a test. I've heard a lot of interviews in South Africa at the moment about that concept of education, and that it's actually not good for kids. And not all kids actually can study that way and learn that way. I'm not one of those.
No, absolutely.
I need it to be what I'm seeing here in this space and in your house, just immersed. It almost just filters in very slowly. That's what you do. So talk to us about that. So, maybe other mothers who are homeschooling, talk to us about the way you just immerse it into the home. Like you just said, at breakfast and at dinners, you maybe read Shakespeare. Or So talk to us about immersing, making it not, this is the classroom, that's outside the classroom.
Separating the two.
Talk to us, because that came from you. I mean,
it's just it's not something I really think about physically. It's kind of just happens in my head where you incorporate, because it's a lifestyle. So for me, for instance, education is a lifestyle, and we as adults, you don't go, okay, now you've written your matric, now you stop learning. It's you should always have
how we've been educated.
But that's sort of as soon as you get that last paper written, you're gone, and you never want to know about. Because my big thing is to facilitate and to kindle. Actually, this is it. I think my thing is to kindle a love for learning in the children, because for me, and to teach them how to self-educate. Because ultimately, I think self-education is the best way to educate. Because if you're passionate about something, no one's going to have to force you to go and learn about it. You're out of your own accord are going to want to find out. So
it's like Oliver was drawing a picture just now. And I said, oh, can I see what you're doing? And he said, I said, what are you drawing? And he was drawing a beautiful picture of an aeroplane and So I said, "Oh, which lesson is it for?" He said, "No, I'm just doing it because I'm enjoying it."
Yes, yes.
You know, so, and then he told me the story. So there's a story, and I think they were getting on an airplane to go and drop off something in Mozambique or something like that.
Okay.
He had
Yes,
the story.
Yes.
So yeah, you stimulating them to.
Yeah. So just it's love for learning and then putting it out there. So I think that's why books. I mean, the house is full of books. It's full of stuff like cardboard, glue, scissors, paper, art materials, whatever the children want to do. Is I put everything out there and I just watched and see where's the interest now, and then I go with it. And I go with that interest, and with children I see they might be into something and really immerse in it. And then get out of it and then start going into something else, but naturally child directed, not parent directed. So I think I, as mother or as teacher or educator, just then go, oh, okay, I can see he's into aeroplanes at the moment, so might bring out a puzzle of an aeroplane or a model. You know, you get this models
So you
that you can
stimulate all the themes around an aeroplane.
Yeah, bring out the Wright brothers book.
Exactly, you were
thing.
talking about that yesterday. So you've got the whole history of flying, and then you'll connect that.
Yes. And a lot of that comes from reading storybooks. Reading, books, a lot of reading, and that stimulates again thoughts and ideas. For instance, we read this wonderful story about Blériot, the guy that crossed the English Channel, as a storybook, and that went, oh wow, let's find out more about this. Is the time, and let's immerse a bit in here, get into aviation history.
And this is not because it's not because they step into a classroom and now they have to learn this book.
No,
it's because he was drawing a picture of a plane, and so suddenly you'll bring in the story, and now because he's drawing this, it makes sense.
Yes.
And then you become interested.
Yes. And then I just bring out a file maybe, and I say, well, let's write about this guy. So then I bring in grammar, for instance. So you're reading, then he's reading something that he's passionately interested. So I don't have to try and force him to, please just do your reading for today. Your 20-minute little book or whatever. Yeah. It's number one, it's a book that it's something he's interested in. Yeah. It's a book that was well written. It's not boring material. And in that I will bring in things. It's history. So you without making a big thing out of it, you're incorporating so many different things, and in the process he's learning. So it's not something that he's now learning this information, he must write a test tomorrow, so there's immediately stress connected to the learning process, number one, already, which is counterproductive. Then you have to cram it in, go tomorrow, write the test, and then often after that, what do you remember? It's sort of in and out kind of thing.
So looking at that, because not everyone has your gift. You have a gift. I mean, this is a gift. I mean, and your kids, I've said, are the luckiest 3 children ever, because they're getting the most unique, the most love-filled way to learn. But what can the school system, or what can other mothers who aren't able to do what you do? How can they incorporate what you do? So, because I mean, they're always having to do homework with kids and things like that. So, what can you maybe give a little bit of advice on what they could do to help them? You know, like you connect all these beautiful dots on sort of an everyday basis. How can they stimulate that in their home, not being a home
educator?
Yeah.
Sure, that is quite a question, because time is, like I said, I can do this because I've got the time, purely because it's 1 to 3 as opposed to 1 to however many in a classroom.
Yeah, but you also dedicate your time to educating your kids.
Yeah, that's true. Jen, I would say just to try and find the things that really interest that child, because we're all uniquely made. We all have uniquely wired. And I understand in the school situation, I just want to say I have tremendous respect for teachers. Yeah. I take
well,
my
you
hat
are a teacher. You're just not getting paid commercially, but you're getting paid in other ways.
Yes. Yeah. No, what I'm getting from all of this is amazing. But to get back to mothers and their children, just to be able to again, reading, kindle a love for learning in the children through reading, through books. If there's interest, but books that
So
they want
stimulate reading always.
Like take them to the library, make a thing of that. If there's something, if the child's interested in something, make the point to go and find books on it, or something like that.
What if they're not interested in reading?
That's quite an interesting question. You see, I've never encountered that, so I'm not. But I think maybe try approaching the reading habit from a different angle, maybe. Yeah. Maybe the stuff that they're reading in school, I don't know, might not interest them.
Yeah.
Maybe find something that they're passionate about and that they want to learn about. And the best thing is reading. Or
so
going
start by understanding what are their interests.
Yeah.
From then, filtering in reading material in the form of books.
Yeah, books. Good.
So it doesn't actually have to necessarily be a theoretical looking book. It can be picture books.
No.
But
life. Good thing is that you're expressing me for myself. Thank you. To find books about people that has got an interest in that subject and actually wrote what you call life book.
Okay, so biographies for example, if a child's interested in sport, go find a book on a professional sportsman who then wrote a biography, so then it connects it that way. That's beautiful.
So it's not a textbook that's written by a lot of different people, little bit. It's not that kind of thing. It's something where people, so that person has immersed. It's been his life. That's what he did. And that can inspire that child again. Okay. So it's basically what the moms then maybe, or the fathers need to do is like introducing children to these ideas and ideas that you get from living books, like that.
Living books, biographies, stories.
Real stories about real people. And that will spark that interest, I find, and that will then go from the one thing to the next thing. And not to put any pressure on the child. I think children have got so much pressure these days that it's just to introduce them, because we want them to have that love for learning. We want them to have that love for reading, because reading is wonderful. And then of course with that comes like the habit of concentration, the habit of also being able to sit to I often think that if you put in front of a child something that he really enjoys and he wants to learn about, I don't think concentration then will be an issue, because he's now, and there's no pressure and performance. That performance thing is that to me is it saddens me when there's always that performance and reward thing connected to it. That a child can be a child because he's a child, and that he can enjoy being a child without having that pressure of performing the whole time.
So you're saying also, like a lot of kids who seem to have concentration problems, if you really connect into that child and see what really touches them, what they're drawn to, if you actually stimulate them there, you'll start seeing that there aren't as many concentration
issues. There might be less issues than what people might want you to believe there is. I just think often children, the right buttons don't get pushed or connected.
And that's what you focus on. You're constantly looking at your 3 kids and you're looking at where are they now, what stage are they at, and I guess your twins are even different.
Totally. And I think because we're a creative family, like me being a recycler and an artist, my husband being an artist.
Did you study art?
No, not at all.
Did you study?
No.
Because I know I heard you were a model.
Oh, many moons ago, Jean, we won't bring that one out.
Listen, those qualities are still there.
Thank you. No, I didn't. I did school and so that's a question I actually also get, is where people say, so what makes you think that you can be a teacher if you never studied? And I think it's just, like I said, it's my children. It's and sometimes it's even better not to have necessarily studied teaching. In other words, I'm not. My thoughts are out of the box.
Yeah.
I'm not formed into the teacher thing of this and curriculum and this and how it must happen. So mine is very much just an organic flow of whatever happens. Like for instance, a while back, friends of ours came to us and said, listen, they've got a little girl, their little grandchild is turning 1, and she's got a little birthday party, and the children play recorders and things like that, and with the children mind to come just play a few songs on the recorders, and while they're there, can they do a puppet show? So I'm going, oh, well, okay, yes, okay. So I just had to sort of digest all of that.
Yeah.
But that immediately gave us, for that week, it gave us our material. So in other words, I then didn't try and still do them all the conventional, what they have to do, and that became the curriculum for that week.
Okay.
So we had to find the story.
So your kids were going to do a puppet show for someone's party, and you decided, okay, awesome. How can I incorporate this now into the education?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. So then, and that's just the thought process. I'm going, okay, we don't really have time to write our own story, but let's take a poem. So in comes poetry.
Because you do write lots of stories.
Yes, they love writing and illustrating it and all of that. But we had a poem. We thought, okay, let's do a poem. So we learned this poem by Jonathan Blake, the little boy that ate too much cake, and then according to the poem, they then made their own props. But again, I didn't have to go out and buy material to make the props. We had glue, we used cardboard, we got sticks from the garden to do the little sticks and they made a big cake, and they made pickles and ice cream, and poor Jonathan Blake, and tucked up in bed with a feverish head, and the whole thing. So the whole week became that. In other words,
how did you then enter in that? How did you introduce history, and did you introduce all those subjects?
Not so much history, but it was more, we brought in like poetry. So in comes poetry, maybe writing the poem down. In comes your copy work of writing down the poem, so that comes in your language and your grammar. You know, your flow of poetry and how it all goes. So it's memorization, which is good for the brain. It's writing, it's learning the poem, it's performing in front of an audience.
So it's acting.
It's taking the actual speech, and out of that poem, see what I can make, then physically make those items, and that's going to go onto the little puppet show for presenting
then presenting. Amazing.
Yeah, so... and they were excited as anything.
And actually, at schools, they do get project weeks where they have to go and do a project and then a presentation.
Yeah. But in a school situation, or even for children, you can do exactly that same thing and maybe do Shakespeare. You can do 12th Night, for instance, and do the same thing maybe for older children or in a level that's for younger children. Because with children also, one must never underestimate children. They are beautifully and wonderfully put together. And I see with Chloe being 13 and the twins being 11 and being 3 completely different children and personalities, is that I don't teach them differently from Chloe. I'm handling the same thing, but obviously each child then their own personal unique capacity then handle it.
And to give an example, so you've got these cards outside, right?
Yeah, the timeline cards.
So you've got your timeline cards, you've got your artists, and then you've also got the timeline of the Bible.
Yes.
So basically, the 2 twins, the younger ones, 11.
11.
So they will draw the pictures, and I mean they're phenomenal. But then on the back, then Chloe, the older one, will actually do the write-up.
So what they all all 3 do the art. So they all 3
all three do the art, but Chloe does the write-up and the history of it.
Because when I started with this, the twins were still at that stage learning to read and write. So Chloe being a bit older then, obviously she was a bit more advanced. So what I did, and another example is then what I do is, so we're busy with the Baroque period, we're listening to Vivaldi. Or Handel or Bach.
So you've got
the music going, but not like we are now listening to Bach. As Bach is on the background, we're busy working, doing our journals, eating breakfast, and I go, oh, Bach. You might for a week listen to Bach, or one day just do Bach.
Oh my God. You're an incredible woman, teacher, mother.
I think there's many out there.
There are many incredible. Most mothers are incredible, of course, and it's such a privilege for me to be a part of. But I don't want to finish right there.
Yes.
But what I do want to ask you is, a few questions which I hope I don't forget. But quickly, so going into, because obviously this is now day and age. Talk to us quickly about technology. How do you introduce sort of the computer world into your world for the kids?
I'm a bit like with computers myself.
And why is that?
No particular reason. I'm a hands-on. I like to write. I always have something happen. It's a completely personal thing. But I realized that is the age that we're in and going in, and it's advanced so quickly. So with the children, research, obviously they can go onto the internet or they can go onto my tablet. But first of all, I always just first books again, back to library. My tablet or the computer is my last resort for gaining information. You're doing it, but first go to the book, the index, the context, that kind of thing.
Why do you think that's so important?
It's like basics. It's when you start learning to cook. it's basics. It's part of, I think, your foundation that's there. The writing down things, mind mapping, all those things, even linear note taking. It's pen on paper. Something happens in your brain when you are physically writing it out.
Does it? Yeah.
I think so, as opposed to, and spelling, how to use a dictionary and all those things. So I say to the children, power cut, not charged.
Yeah.
If I don't know the spelling, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
Okay? What you gonna do?
And in South Africa, there are a lot of
There's a lot of
power
power cuts. So that's one of the things. So it's that kind of thing. So learning how to use books and how to research that way. I love the library. The Harry Smith Library is my best. We love it. And then obviously your internet.
And then you were mentioning
the coding.
So talk to us about that.
The coding actually happened, not something I even thought about, but we've got a great friend living in Harry Smith, and he's a lecturer in computer science, and he always comes and converses with the children, and you sit and you have a lovely South African braai on a Sunday afternoon, and he then started. He said he would like to introduce the children to coding.
Yeah.
And I was like, typical me, like, what's coding? What is it? What is coding? What you can teach my children? Thing. And he came and he taught them, and so they do their own coding. So and again, what happens now, I can see what they're doing. Instead of using the actual things that's available for them to use to code with, what Robert was saying is they use what's there and they're already modifying it to then put into the coding. So the colors, the way they're coloring it in, the way what they do with, I don't even know exactly
on the
everything they do
computer.
on the computer.
Okay, but so they are learning, learning coding, so they already are.
In short, so they're doing that.
Okay.
So I think it's like a well balanced diet. It's the same thing, education. It's like having a well balanced education. And I think the way you mentioned connecting the dots. I think you've put that in a beautiful nutshell, because that is what it is. There's many dots out there. And what I often do in art class as well is I do connect the dot, but I let the children just randomly do dots, and I let them randomly connect, and then to see what they see, and then turn and turn and turn and turn. And I think that's the same thing with the education as well. Many dots out there, many prompts out there, and then just having an excited mother to say, I'm like a child again.
Yeah.
So we're in the same team. It's not me teaching them. It's us learning together. And I think that also makes a difference. So we're in the same team.
So tell me, what are difficulties in this? What are the challenges that you face? I mean, everyone who follows their truth always comes. I mean, we all come up with challenges.
Yeah.
What are your challenges in this?
Sure. I think time. My biggest challenge is time management for myself, because there's so much we want to do, so much I want to do, so many ways of doing it that's time consuming. So it's time. I wish I had more time. So for me, I think it's that thing.
But so this is we're actually sitting at your desk.
In my desk.
So do you have challenges that you mull over in your head while you're here, or
Yeah. Do you mean challenge like in homeschool, or just challenges in who I am?
In this decision, in this choice to raise your kids, all three of your kids, because this is really your one of your biggest contributions. Homeschooling your kids, and you give all. I mean, I know you are also an artist. You do also create things. I know that you do have another business where you create things and you sell things, and I saw your display in the window earlier, which I took pictures of. It looked beautiful.
Thank you.
Sophia had a display of a box of eggs. She cut them up afterwards and painted them white, and she hung them all up and created a display in one of the windows in town. But you're giving all of yourself to this.
So you mean challenge as in personally me? What about me?
Because I mean, this is you. When you connect with your truth, then you start connecting with everything of yourself.
I've never had a feeling that what about woe is me?
No, of course
what about
not.
me? For me, I'm absolutely embracing this season as a mother, as a housewife, as educating my children, and it's not something I'm doing while I would like to do something else. This is what I want to do.
So then, are you just always positive?
I think so. Yeah.
Really? Oh, terrible.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I have my moments, obviously.
But what are those moments?
Where I don't know. I'm truly blessed, actually.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, how
I
about the
don't
fact
know.
that you're homeschooling your kids? You don't get paid to do it. No one
No.
in society comes and says,
I don't
Sophia,
go,
well done. How
Yeah.
about that? We all want
yes.
a little bit of acknowledgement every now and
Yes.
then.
But I think, I mean, my husband's fantastic. He's completely supportive in it. And
Yeah.
that's another thing, really important, I think, for husband and wife, if you do this, to be in unity about doing it. And because he's also actually part of the team. I mean, he's the history boffin. So he loves, he's, and some things I do, some things he does. But what's the question again with me? Oh no, I completely now forgot your question.
No, so the question is what I was asking you, what are your challenges? You know, because I mean, I see beauty. I see what you've created. I mean, I'm going to show it in the film, but you've created a very special environment for your family.
Yeah.
But we all have our challenges, and I'm just curious, what is it that you go through that's difficult? And I can imagine, because you're homeschooling, it's a controversial subject.
Yes.
And also, you don't get that pat on the back. You're not a formal teacher, so you don't you don't get a school's headmaster saying, well done, Sophia, you're an amazing teacher.
Yeah.
It's that acknowledgement. You don't get that. So you say your husband does give it to you.
Yeah.
But do you miss a little bit of society's acknowledgement in this?
I don't know. Not really. You know what it is? I think I'm so at peace with this and what we're doing, and I'm so enjoying it, and I'm so having a beautiful platform where I can really, it connects all my things that I want to do at this current stage in my life, that I don't really, I don't need the affirmation to say what you're doing is right, because of the peace in my heart.
Because you know it's right.
I know it's right.
You're connected with the truth.
And I think if you've got that, then you don't even think about it. Because yes, you don't get necessarily commended because you're homeschooled. A lot of people have the challenge might be there that they go like, but why do you think you're right or why do you think I'm right by homeschooling and you're wrong by schooling? And that's what I said earlier. Please, for everybody, it's not got anything to do with wrong or right. It's got to do for me, about life. In other words, there's all those things out there in the world systems are in place, all great, but for me and the way I think, there's more. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said earlier, there's so much more that can unfold.
The school system can give that.
Not for all the children that's out there, not for all the type of personalities that's out there. And that's what I'm saying. I think there's nothing wrong with school, there's nothing wrong with the institution, there's nothing wrong with any of those things. It must be there, because not everyone's in the situation. But for me and my husband and for our family, we just feel that there's so much more out there that can be explored, that can almost really happen when you're not in it, when you're on the outside looking in almost, instead of being on the inside looking out. But again, please, I don't ever want anyone to feel that I think what I'm doing is the way to go. Because everyone's, and even in the homeschooling families, everyone does their own thing.
Yeah, but
because every family is unique. You can't ever compare. We know comparison steals joy. But one should never compare.
I like that. Comparison steals joy.
Yeah, but it's not me. That's quite someone. I can't remember who said that. But it's just that quote works. It works because it's so true.
Yeah.
And so regarding challenges and society and all of that, fortunately with homeschooling, you always get this question, but what about the socialization?
Yeah,
and
so
it's not that.
Normally I don't meet people the day before, which I did.
Yes.
I met you yesterday, so and normally I ask questions, it's totally off the cuff. But so we know your kids go to ballet, they go to tennis or different lessons, piano lessons. Exactly. So they're interacting with people all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, I had a conversation with them on our walk.
Yes.
On our walk. And I mean, I said, would you like to go to school? And they said no.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, they really are so, big smiles. Just, they love it. But yet their best friends are at school,
Yes.
the school here. So.
So that's their friends, they socialise, they interact. I mean, it's not like they ran away when you came in the gate,
No,
so people
absolutely
I know if people think remember, we're not isolating them. You know, it's not like we're not letting them
Is
see
there a
society.
bit of control in there, do you think?
I don't know. I'm
Not wanting other people to educate. Is there a bit of a letting go, do you think?
I don't know. Possibly, if I have to think, like I would like to be the one to do the education, because from our biblical worldview, from our just as a family, I think I've never really thought about it in such a way, because it hasn't really been this cognitive decision. It's a heart thing. It's not a head thing.
Heart. Yeah.
So it's not something that I had to ponder upon too deeply. And daily, I mean, it's not like I have to ponder upon things too deeply to say, should I stay or should I go now, you know.
But as parents, we're the chosen parent of that child to raise that child, and for you, this is you're raising your kids.
Yeah, I take motherhood very seriously.
Yeah.
Because it's because it's a gift to be a mother. I mean, having you know what it is that it's sort of, it's such a privilege. I think it's a great privilege to be a mother, and motherhood to me is one of the highest ministries there is, because it's 24/7.
So how do you balance then? You're teaching them all day,
Yes,
and then you're mother at night, and then you're still bringing out, you know, Vivaldi and Bosch and whatever at the table. And how do you get time for yourself?
Well, it's sort of at night. At what we introduce, but even when the children were young, because I mean, at one stage I had 3 children very tiny, under the age of 3 when the twins were born, and they were born very young. And obviously that was a different season. So I'm engaging now with them differently. So in other words, it gets to a stage that everyone as parents will know, where they can brush their own teeth, they can bath, they can dress themselves, they can make their own bed. So that nurturing thing, that intense nurturing moment as a mother and a father, then it changes. It goes where they can do all of that. And then you engage with them differently now, intellectually and things like that. So
but still,
that hands-on,
you still need time for yourself as a mom.
I try what we've done now, and that's actually what I'm getting to, is what we then introduced for me is on a Saturday. I was like, okay, Saturday is my day where we don't do any formal education. They're still building puzzles, drawing, because that's just our habit. But then Adam on a Saturday, it's sort of, he's the main chef or the main cook. But then we do a nice cooked breakfast on a Saturday morning, and I often give art classes. I have children coming for art lessons.
So you're still teaching.
I can't help it.
You're passionate about educating.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
And then I've got my recycling, my studio where I recycle. So I think for me, things like doing paper mache, painting, that kind of thing is also my thing. So
and that for you gets you in a state of connected with just self again.
Yeah, just being and So, but because I think I'm loving what I'm doing, I never feel. Often someone will say to me, "Oh, I'm sure you need a break or you need a holiday," and I go, "Well, not really. I haven't thought about that, because what I do energizes me. I'm sure everyone that loves their job will feel the same way I do.
Exactly.
You know, it's not like you need a break from interviewing people.
No,
you love it.
I'm always doing
you're
it.
loving it. So I don't really separate it a lot like that. And I don't go, oh, now I'm a teacher, now I'm a mother, now I'm a this.
And do you
it's
think
just phew.
That's how
together.
people can. Do you think that's maybe a good sort of analogy, or what you would call it, for people to understand whether they're tapping into their truth or not, is whether they're constantly needing a break from something, or obviously I was asking about motherhood, and you can't take a break from motherhood. You can go away for the weekend, and that is a nice, what you just said, it's a beautiful way to look at it, that you don't need a break from it. Whatever that thing is, that is your truth. You don't need a break from it, because it's that thing that connects you with yourself.
So I always think, what is that? There's another quote, and I can't remember who by, but something like this: do what you love and love what you do. I think that's basically it in a nutshell. And I often think, if you're in a career or in a situation where you can't wait for the weekend and you can't wait for the holiday and you live for that, then I would strongly encourage you to maybe, if you can, change your job. Because I just think, if you imagine that a weekend, 2 days a weekend and holidays, what about all those other days in between that you're just existing? You're not living those days, and that makes your life very short if you only live. And if you have a Sunday afternoon blues because you hate to be having to go on the Monday, that to me would be awful. It would be heart-rending to be in that kind of situation in life. But I mean, you're talking out to a wide audience. I don't
So I think let's close off there.
Maybe.
Because you are such an incredibly creative human being, what would you say in advice to people who are in that position?
Okay.
How would you, in your creative mind's eye, what would you advise to people to do to maybe try and figure out how to find that thing?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a difficult one because everyone's situation is difficult.
It is.
Some people have to work for certain things. Some you get single mothers. Everyone's different. But I would encourage people to somehow, if you can, do that thing that you see. I can't have this conversation. You have to from a spiritual angle. If I may,
Yeah,
just from for me, it's Father God that has placed in me. In my DNA, all these things.
So in other words,
I'm trying to think how to, because my heart really goes out to people that is in a position that they can't get out of, and they hate being there.
Yeah.
That for something to happen, just to follow your passion, to find a way that you can maybe not depend entirely. I mean, money is also a big thing, isn't it? A lot of people are in a situation due to money that must be earned to pay bills, etc., etc. To maybe get to a lifestyle that you live within your means.
So, and that is, I mean, now I wanted to close off, but obviously you're raising a very important point. And I said earlier on that, you guys you're a self-sufficient family.
Yeah.
You really, your kids, you don't go and buy cookies. Your kids make cookies.
Yeah.
You live within your means.
Yes, I think that's it.
So I think that is actually a beautiful piece of advice.
Yeah.
Is re-look at where you're at and your spending.
Yeah.
Go back to.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say go back to basics, but go back to a way of living where you start getting in touch with, where you allow yourself to get in touch with what's important to you, and kind of get rid of all the bling.
Comparing yourself with people normally but that's got more than you, or rather just recognize where you're at, what you have, and be thankful.
What did you say earlier? Comparison
steals joy.
Comparison steals joy.
And I always say you must never look up to the Joneses.
No.
You must drag them down to your standard because it's much cheaper.
I think let's end there. Sophia, thank you so much
You're welcome.
for letting us into your world.